Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and in this video I'm going to be building a bar and grill, and this one is called Breeze. Now I do like to name my lots depending on what I'm building, and I figure since when your Sims comes here they can have a drink, they can either grill, have a little party. It could be an engagement party. It can even be girls' time or guys' night out. And while they're enjoying themselves, they can catch the breeze. Now, my mindset for this build was something romantic, something for my Sims to look over something and see the ocean. I was thinking about something romantic. That was my whole mindset. Something romantic. And Sulani is always a romantic spot to bring his Sims when something romantic is planned. And so, yeah, I wanted to build something really sweet and calm, relaxing, and we cannot forget romantic. So right now I'm building the ramps to the build, and I put a few ramps, or I put a couple of ramps. Well, I guess you could say a few ramps because just in case they get a little busy, a little crowded, there's different ways you can exit. Now I know there's only two ways to enter, but at least they can have multiple ways to exit. I had to put two bushes in the front on the outside for the Sims to use the bathroom. So if you do download this lot, that's where the bathrooms are, because I couldn't put any bathrooms on this lot. I had already built the lot, and then I realized, ooh, they don't have a bathroom to use the bathroom in. You know, when they start to drink, their bladder goes down really quick. And so I totally forgot about the bathroom, but at least there is two. So for the wood that I'm placing all around the build, it is a light wood. I was trying to go for that boardwalk wood, and so yeah, that's why I went with a lighter wood. And I know y'all see those green stairs. I was going for a different color for the build, but I quickly changed my mind. I felt like I wanted that, like I said, that boardwalk look, and so I'm going to change those stairs to a lighter wood. They're going to match the, the edge of the build, and so yeah, I'm just placing those wherever they're needed. In this area, I swear, this area is definitely the romantic part of the build. Also, I decided to add some green along the gates, and this was when the build started to get some character. This is when the build changed, and that's when I felt like, yes, this is definitely where I'm going with this build. But I'm not going to place it on the whole build, but it is around the majority of the build. I definitely took the green away from that area. Well, I put some there, but then I took some away because I wanted them to, I wanted your Sim to be able to look over the ocean, and so that part of the build was mainly for that purpose. So we didn't put any green there. Of course, you gotta have some of these nice little hanging lights. Now, I was having a lot of issues placing these lights. I felt like we need more of these same lights in different colors. As far as the little wood that holds up the lights, we need more colors in that as well. It was so hard for me to get them to attach together without it looking a little crazy. And so I wanted to add these trees anyway. These like LA trees, Hawaii trees. Because these are already the trees that's in the town, on the island. So I did size down some of the trees because I didn't want all of them to be really, really tall. And whatever I do on like one side, I'm doing on the other side as well. And yeah, this is when the build started to come together. So you seeing me put the trees like right there where both of the lights in, and even though they are not like connected, they are connected to the tree. That's the whole point of, the tree being right there. Now some of the trees, they did fall into the ocean, but I felt like that can happen. And not fall into the ocean, but they were like buried in the ocean or whatever. I was trying to fix that, but I'm not quite sure if I did because, my mom was going a little crazy at this point because I was like, yes, it's coming together. And I was excited. So, yeah, these lights was giving me so much trouble. But I had to use them because the other ones we had in the game, they didn't really go with the style of the build, the idea of how I wanted the build to look. So these were the only ones, and we just need more of these in different colors. We need them in white, the lights in the wooden part that holds the light up, both of them need to be white, or white and black, something, because I be wanting to use these in other builds, and yeah, sometimes the yellow doesn't go with everything. So yeah, I'm having trouble, like I said, but eventually I got it. And after I thought I got it, I decided to think, do I want them to be a little higher? I think I want them to be a little higher. So that was another issue, and it just got a little crazy during that time. I moved over to the middle ramp. I thought I wanted to work on that area because I don't want to leave it bare. I do want something along the edge part, but I wasn't ready for that area. So I moved over to the entrance part, and I decided I want to work on this area next. And so, of course, adding some green is always one of the best options. So we're going to go into the plant area before I do add like 2 water fountains in the middle. I want this area to be romantic too. And I just want this area to be, a place where your sim can come, and if they still have their drink, they can come and sit down with whoever they talking to, whether it's their girlfriend or someone they getting to know, and they can still catch that breeze, So I'm going to start adding some green. And like I said, green always work. So I'm starting with these flower pots that I normally use on the outside of my windows. And then I moved over to the sand part, and I went with some CC. And this CC I always use. And I always size it up, which is like a stem with some leaves. I think you're supposed to use these in like a small flower pot, but I always use them and I size them up. But I did get a little carried away. Eventually I decided just to remove most of them and just use a few of them. But when I do use these, I also like to use a plant just for the base of the stem. And of course I'm going to use a lot of these as well. And then this is when I realized that I need some more color. So I started to add some plants along the sand, and I was just going for a bunch of colors. So I'm going to add a bunch of these in different colors just to fill in those empty spaces. And this is also where I stuck the pea bush for your sim to use the bathroom after having a bunch of drinks. But at the end of the video, I did also remove some flowers to give a little walkway so that your sims can get to the bush because we don't want them to use the bathroom on themselves while they catching that breeze, So at least there is a walkway to get to it. I am adding a bunch of these flowers along the curve, but I do stop at the end of the curve. This is where the sand and some of the water start to mix together. I love to use these flowers. I like to size them down, make them blend together so it could give it that natural look. Now I'm focused on what kind of rug I want to use underneath the fountain, and I decided to go with this one. It seemed to blend in well, and I also added some green around the fountain, but this is when I decided to remove those CC leaves. I don't even know what it's called, but I did remove most of them and I kept only 3. I did find some other plants that I thought was really nice. They wasn't too tall. They was just the perfect size. And as you can see, I used a bunch of them. I went bananas with them. Now I'm thinking about I want to add some lights, even though I've only furnished this side of the build. Well, it was time for some lights, but I did go with some lantern lights. I felt like those were best for this kind of build. I also used these CC lights, and these CC lights is a little weird. You place the light wherever you want it, and you really don't see the light, but it's there. It lights up that area. So I did use a lot of those along the edges, and now I'm starting to add that green that I mentioned underneath the fountains. And then after that, I start to go back to playing around with those lights that's hanging all around the build next to the trees. I needed to put some more of those around just to give it some more light around the build. Some were still difficult, but there was some that just fell right in place. And once I was done that, it was time to focus on the main entrance of the build. I wasn't sure how I wanted them to walk in, so I did use this towel. This one right here. It has to go with, it can go with like a cottage living, or I'm not quite sure what else, maybe an outdoor type of living, but yeah, it went perfectly with this build. And now I'm just adding some dirt, so of course I can add some more flowers just to fill those those spots in, because I just felt like to come in, walk in, you got to be greeted with some nice flowers. So we're going to do that. We're going to add some more of those colorful flowers, and of course I'm going to size them down so they can blend in well and just look natural. And also needed some light out here as well, but I didn't want, I wasn't sure. You know what, as a matter of fact, there wasn't any lights that looked it well, especially like as far as like stand-up lights, because I didn't really want anything to be blocking the entrance, and like a big stand-up outdoor light will be blocking the entrance. So I went with some more of those lantern lights, and I put them like right there at the beginning of the entrance. And everything just came out looking really romantic, just how I wanted it to look. I haven't played in this lot yet because I've been waiting to put up the build before I play in it, because I wasn't sure if I was going to play in it with my current family. I decided I wanted to bring another LP, even though I just put a new one on the channel, because technically it's only really one. I do have my current family, and I call them my current, but then again I don't, because since we were going to start on a new chapter. I was trying to just start with them, even though they like already achieved a lot. You know, just because they achieved a lot doesn't mean that it's not a lot going on, because our bills are not cheap. You know, our bills be over $100,000 sometimes. So, and we make our money off our flowers and our businesses. So things are not simple over there. But I'm not going to have them on the channel all the time. I am going to be focused on the Racks to Riches LP, and so I do want another LP on the channel. So that was another reason why I decided, like, you know what, let me build a couple of spots. And also these spots is spots that I will hang out at, and spots that I want my Sims to play in, because they just go with whatever storyline, you know, I have planned. And I wanted this build to be out before I even played in it. I haven't played in it yet, but I do know that it's workable. Your Sims can have fun here, because I did come here and I did see some Sims already here. So now I'm focused on the middle part of the build, where you enter to go to the bar. And I went with this garden gate. I'm hoping that this garden gate keeps the Sims on this platform. I'm also using some more lantern lights. I felt like they just added, you know, just a dim to the area. And this is where I'm going to add a rug and some more stairs. Now, I know adding a rug is probably not a good idea, but the rug just went right with the colors that I was going with. It kind of like looks like a rug, but then again it doesn't. So I just kept it. You know, in real life, a rug being on a platform for an outdoor build wouldn't make no sense. But in the Sims world, when you get away with a lot of things, and the last rug is hanging off, so if you do download the build, you will see that, but you really can't see it when you're playing. So I just left that the way it was. I needed them to be able to get to the bar area, so I am going to add some more stairs. And I'm sticking with the same color, so I'm using the same ones that I used around the build. And this is where they're going to come in at. And as you can see, I only added a little platform, so they only have one step to step up. And also, this is where I start to give along the edge some detail. I'm still sticking with the tan color, but I think it was a little darker than the tan color that I was using. The bar area came out really bright, really relaxing. I put a bunch of tables out. There's some music. They can watch some TV. And it came out really nice. I was going to use some outdoor stand-up lights, but once again, they were too big. They were just in the way. So I went with these lights that they kind of like, they perfect for club, you know, but this is a bar area, which is kind of like, you know, party area. So they were perfect, because not only were they for the area, but the color that I found blended really well with the colors that I was already using. But these are the lights I'm talking about. They go perfectly with the color scheme that I'm using. I guess I use about 8. I did put a garbage can in that little corner. So there is a garbage can out here for all the cups and stuff. I was having issues with what kind of tables was going to go well out here, because a lot of the bar stool seats that I was trying to use wasn't going well with, I guess, the tables. I needed like a bar stool table, and I really didn't want to use a bar stool table. I mean, I wanted to use one that was similar to a bar stool table, and so I was having issues with that, but eventually I did find a match. I also added an umbrella to 2 of the tables. At one point, there were umbrellas on all the tables, and I think they were green. So I changed those umbrellas and I switched that style to another style, and this umbrella is neutral, so I felt like it went okay with everything that was going on in this area. It wasn't too big, but I felt like it could have been just a little bit smaller. Also, these chairs or these stools that I'm using, which is the same ones I used at the bar, they do have like a little green tip. The green tip is like a lighter green and then the green around, but it still felt like it blended in. And I also added some candles to the tables with like a little plant. Hopefully whatever they order from the bar, like some chips or whatever, they can still put that down and the plant is not in the way. The plant is really small, so they shouldn't have no problem. I am going to add some wood to the floor. I didn't want the same wood that I use for the ramps and the entrance and everything. I picked out this really light wood, lighter than the stools and the gate. The wood matched the rug in the middle, and it went perfectly with everything that was going on. And once I was done with the floor, I felt like I needed some rugs for the tables, and I went with some round rugs. I was still going for something light, something ropey. So I went with the same rug that I always use. To me, it's a rug that you can use for something that you plan to be romantic. And then after that, at first I started to try to add something to the entrance to the bar, but then I was like, no, I'm just going to leave it like that. So I went ahead and started to add some inventory behind the bar. I added some extra liquor, and after the liquor, that's when I felt like, all right, so where am I going to put these TVs? Because none of this stuff over here you can actually have a TV sitting on. So I started moving things over to add like a little spot in the middle in between the drinks behind the bar, so I can place like a pole there and have it sitting on the pole. I made sure I added some garbage cans for all of the trash that accumulated, and I still didn't feel like there was enough green out here, so I added some more green. I used these vines dividers, and at first I wasn't sure if it was too much, but it went well with the colors that I was using, and I wanted it to feel like the island. So I added some drapes, some green drapes to the top part of these dividers, because you can never ever have enough green. And I put that on both sides. I just made them a little smaller, and they went perfectly on top of the dividers. Now I'm going to add these umbrellas that I was thinking of at first. They are so big. I went with some green ones, and at one point I was like, this is becoming too much green now, you know. They were in the middle, in between each table, but they were in the way. So before the end of the video, I did swap them for some different ones. I also wanted to add like a sign to the entrance of the bar. So at one point, I couldn't find what I wanted to use for the sign, and I also wasn't sure where I was going to have the sign sitting up at. So I'm over here looking for where I want the sign to go, as well as trying to find something to go in this like little spot on both sides right behind the tables. So I just felt like that was just an open spot and something needed to be there. So that's why I think I even thought of putting up a sign. But eventually I did find this wooden pole that I use for the signs. And I also use that wooden pole right in between the inventory that's behind the bar where that plant is at. I swapped that plant for the wooden pole, but it turned out really well. The only thing is with the TVs, if it rains, because you know Sulani does have a lot of rain going on sometimes, the TVs are going to be damaged. And I don't think that anyone can be able to repair the TV. So that is something that probably is going to need to be replaced when you enter the lot, because it is an outdoor build and there was really nothing I can cover the TV with. So right here, like I said, I am thinking about this sign that I want to use. So here's the pole that I used, and now I'm going to look for some lights. This is the same lights I used in my Fizz liquor store. I just placed the cocktail one and I just expanded it to be a little bit bigger so you can see it. And then I added like a little smaller pole, the same pole, but I just sized that one down. On top of that pole, I added another light up sign. And once I was done with the bar area, I focused on the main area, the area that I built this build around, because I wanted something that you can look over the water and it can be romantic. So here I'm using some more of those lantern lights, and I'm going to use these all around the gate along the curve. And I also added some green here. I didn't add any flowers, but I added some plants, as well as a bench that you can sit on over here in this area, with like a table and like a can-do. You know, once again, we thinking about the romantic vibes over here. It's not a big space, so I didn't really want it to be too crowded. This is a weird kind of curvy section, but everything seemed to fall in place really well. At one point I was thinking about a rug, but then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna go with a rug. Let me just put some chairs down and a table. And I also put like a cover over, like right behind the chair. It's like a cover up, but it's not really covering you up because it's like bars that's like above you. But I thought it was cute, and I thought it was still part of that romantic vibe. I felt like this area is an area that I'm going to be definitely using real soon, so look out for that. I'm just not quite sure when I'm going to use this lot. I had something in mind for my current family to use this lot. That was the whole reason why I even built the lot, because I was planning on something. I had something in mind. But I might even use this lot for my Rags to Riches LP. And I'm also coming out with another LP really soon. I'm not quite sure what that's going to be called. I have a name in mind, but I'm not sure if this name is a little crazy or out there. So I'm just like, maybe you shouldn't call it that, but it is going to be real spicy. And that's why I was trying to figure out what I wanted to call it. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be using this lot, because this lot is a nice, like I said, it's a spot that even if you're not doing anything romantic, it's a chill spot. It's in a perfect spot. It's, you know, you can see the water, the boats out there, the fish, you know, people swimming. It's just a really nice build. And it was only supposed to be like a bar, but I needed, or no, the lot trait, I had to make it a bar and grill, because the grill wasn't like an option. I was not going to put a grill with this build, but since that's what the lot trait required, so there is another section that I added to add the grill, which is going to be on the opposite side of the bar. Another little bridge with another little area where there's a grill, some greenery, and some chairs. At one point I did put like a picnic bench out there, which is more of a family type of vibe, but then I changed it right at the end of the build, and I just put like a table and some chairs or whatever, and everything seemed to still blend in well, even though I added that extension at the end. I was glad there was a spot for me to add that extension because I didn't want to make this a lounge and I couldn't make it a park, and I wanted people to come, so I didn't want to make it generic. So it was a lot of, things that was against me. So the only thing I could make it was a bar and grill. So like I mentioned a few minutes ago, here's the little cover-ups that I use behind the seats. They don't really cover you up, but they did go with the look that I was going with. I also added a candle to the table just to keep that romantic feel going on. And then after that, I believe I added a rug right at the entrance of this area. That rug is more like a rope rug as well, just like the ones that's in the bar area. At one point I was going to go with some towel, but then I was like, no, I want it to be like a rug that you can still see through, kind of like a rug that doesn't have too much going on, just something really simple that goes with what's already going on. I was also having problems with trying to find a nice plant to go right at the entrance, right where that curved part starts at, because some of the plants, if you put it too close to the gate, it starts to bleed out, and some of them do hang over it a lot. So I was kind of having issues with what plants to put there, but eventually I did find one that fits. And here is the rug that I mentioned that fits. I'm gonna start to add some more touches along the build, which is the edge part of the build. I also made sure I added those lanterns to the front of the build because I almost forgot about that. And then I went ahead and finished on the last part of the build, which is that extension that I had to add. I'm going to be using the same floor, the same flowers. I just added a grill over there and a table and some chairs. But in the video, at first I added a picnic table, and that picnic table did make it more of a family vibe. But then before I took some pictures and stuff, I changed the picnic table to a regular table. And so this is the end of the video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to give me a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. Also, don't forget about that bell. It will notify you anytime I post. And after this, I will roll some pictures. I will see y'all in the next one.